We're going to get to Harden's exploits here in a moment. I want to talk about the Brooklyn Nets, who now have a 5-game winning streak against the Western Conference, by the way, and are at 500 for the first time since November 9th. They are one of the great stories of this, well, not that young, now halfway through the NBA season so far. And they play these incredible games. That experience is starting to show up as the season gets deeper and deeper because they were, a little bit of a, not a laughingstock, but it was kind of a joke at the beginning of the season. Oh, the Nets are going to blow a lead. Something terrible is going to happen. Now they're winning these games.
They are winning these games, and really I think the foundation was set the last few years. Kenny Atkinson inherited this team, didn't have a lot, but they always played hard, Brendan. They always competed. They just didn't know how to win games down the stretch, and we saw that a little bit earlier in the season. But they lost Karis LeVert. We all saw that, who was their best player at the time. But these players now are believing. They're playing great basketball. And you talk about late game heroics, being able to take and make big shots. Dinwiddie just elevating his play, the belief that they have in each other, and of course when someone gets hot, finding that hot hand and riding him to the finish.
Dinwiddie is an unbelievable story. Brendan, he's been cut, he was sent to the G League, he's been traded, and now he's a go-to guy at the end of games for this team.
Well, he's one of those guys that just perseveres. He won't give up. I mean, I remember him in Detroit, and he was trying to find his way, and it was a little bit up and down with his minutes and being in and out of the rotation. And then he just kept grinding, went to Brooklyn, found his home, and then he obviously has put in the work. You don't get this good overnight, so this wasn't something that happened just by happenstance. He put in the work, continued to get better, continued to persevere. Now he's found a home. He's making big-time plays for these upstart Brooklyn Nets, and they're doing some big things in the Eastern Conference. Don't be surprised if they make it to the playoffs and win a series. We know they're probably going to make it, but they can actually win a series because, like you said, talking about Karis LeVert, they're going to get him back at some point this year. They're going to be better when he's on this roster.
Also took advantage of a smallish Houston lineup tonight. No Clint Capella. They scored 74 in the paint. That's a season high for the Brooklyn Nets. As for Harden, back-to-back, not just 50, but 55-plus point games for him, 18 in a row now with 30 or more. And I wonder, and I'm not the first to ask this, but the load that is placed on him night after night, how long can he continue that sort of responsibility?
Well, it's interesting. I mean, he's 40% usage rate. He's on track to be the second highest in NBA history. What he has done here these last 6 weeks have just been off the charts. And, they're going to need him to continue to play that way. That's the thing that's scary. And I just worry. I worry, can he maintain that consistently? And then, of course, into the postseason, playing and putting up those type of numbers. But that's elite company that he's in right now when you start talking about some of those greats. And you know what? He's been elite the last 6, 8 weeks.
Definitely is elite company. You asked the question, how long can he keep it up? The answer is he doesn't really have a choice. He has to keep it up. When you look at the rest of this roster, and Eric Gordon came back and went out of this lineup with the sore knee, P.J. Tucker, Clark, Rivers, Green, Chris, Nene. There's nobody else on this roster that can consistently create shots for themselves or others. So Houston's going to have to ride Harden until the wheels fall off. I'm hoping the wheels don't fall off, but they have no choice. They have one game plan and one way to win basketball games until Chris Paul and Eric Gordon are able to both be out there and be healthy and play up to their level. Right now it's Harden. He's a one-man band doing what he has to do, and he has drugged this team kicking and screaming back into the Western Conference playoff race. I know they lost tonight, but listen, what he's been doing this last stretch of games has been absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, no, Brendan, just to your point, the stamina required to go out and have that kind of responsibility. But the thing that's impressive, which makes me kind of think that he can continue with it, even with all of that, is just the efficiency and how under control. It's not a hard 30 or a hard 40. It's almost effortless.
You don't think it's a hard 30?
Well, I'm saying, with the way he plays. No. I know it's a lot of dribbling. 34 shots, a lot of shots.
58 points on 34 shots is efficient.
But it's not like Allen Iverson, who was going to the hole every time and getting hit and having to exert so much energy. He plays at a nice tempo, nice pace. I'm not trying to minimize his accomplishment, but it just seems he's so effortless and he's doing whatever he wants out there. And so I think that bodes well for him in terms of having to try to do this and live up to this every game for the rest of the season.
It's remarkable, and you make a good point. Maybe this is why he's able to continually do this night after night. And this is not a knock, you very seldom see James Harden at a full sprint. He plays at his own pace, as you said. He gets where he needs to go. He gets to the foul line a ton, 23 times tonight. Maybe that has something to do with the way or why he can sustain this.
He might not be in a full sprint, but this is where we kind of disagree slightly, is that I still think it's a hard 30 or a hard 50 simply because it's so much dribbling. What you were a go-to guy, and you know how hard it is to get your shot when you're the go-to guy. But every once in a while, you could throw that thing over to Joe Dumars or somebody else and be like, hey, man, it's your turn.
Right.
Well, listen, every time James throws it, they throw it right back like it's hot potato. And for good reason. You don't want Nene out there creating his own shot. So when you look out there and look at this team, I see an incredibly, it's efficient.
Right.
But I see a hard 58, a hard 57 because no one's creating any shots for him. It's not like when you see Klay Thompson get off of his 50s and 60s where they're creating shots and he doesn't have to dribble.
Barely touches the ball.
No, James has to hit incredibly tough shots. It's tough step backs with people draped on you. It's trying to split the trap. It's doing the Euros all throughout the lane with everybody trying to block your shot. Then he goes to the free throw line a lot, so that's taking a taxing on your body. He's going to the free throw line double-digit times a game. So James is putting on a performance. I love it, but I do think it is stressful on him because it's so much to do every single possession.
Yep. Fourth 50-point game of the season for James Harden. The Rockets have won 14 of 19 even with the loss.